Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Yikes, I don't know what the hell that is. I don't know either. Good Lord. Hope everybody's had a good weekend. Good to see y'all. It's been, not been since Friday night since we've all been together. Well, it's a Sunday night live stream, Radio Baloney Live. I am your host, Richie Baloney. And of course, we have lots to talk about. I hope to see everybody in the chat. Let me know everything sounds good. Everything seems to be working okay. You might be wondering what that thing is. You can ask me. You can ask me, and I'll tell you to the best of my knowledge. All right. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's Sunday. Oh, before we start in, I should just mention that we're streaming live both on Rumble and YouTube. Now, we're not going to do the whole thing on YouTube. So we'll do YouTube for a little while. And then at some point, because of censorship, of course, you know why. You know why. Basically, Stalin tube at this point, YouTube. So we'll do some stuff on YouTube. And I'm very happy for the people that will watch on YouTube. But what I would ask you to do is, when we're ready to cut off the YouTube part of the stream, that'll probably be in 45 minutes, an hour, something like that. Jump over to Rumble. Or you can even do it right now. As a matter of fact, you probably already got an account over there. You could go on your Roku TV, your Apple TV, your Fire Stick, your Smart TV, and have the app there right next to your YouTube app. And you can just go straight over to Rumble. It's awesome. A lot more people watch me on Rumble, and the chat is basically all people on Rumble anyway, so you might as well just do it. But anyway, just a warning, that's coming. That's coming. Stalin tube, or Mao tube, whatever you want to call it. Pol Pot tube. We'll have to go at some point, and then we'll continue on with our glorious live stream on Rumble, because Rumble loves us, and they care about us. They do. They care about our free speech. I can't say enough good things about Rumble. All right, what are we talking about tonight, people? Good people. Good people. Nobody in the chat yet? What, is the chat broken? What's going on? Crazy. Okay, first off, we're going to talk about 100,000 anti-Israel protesters expected to descend across Chicago during Democratic convention. Well, 100,000 anti-Israel protesters. They're really just communists, and this is the fashionable thing now to attach the communism to protest. And we'll see. We'll take a look at this. I'll show you exactly what I mean. 1 second. I just want to check. And make sure the chat is actually working. Let's see. It is working. Okay, there's no excuse. Get in the chat. Tell me what you would like to see us talk about tonight. So we're going to talk about this, and we'll actually look at the largest group, the coalition of like 1 million communists, 1 million different communist organizations that are organizing it. You'll see it's all just communism. It really is. Let's see. We've got somebody Proton Mail in the chat. Good to see you. Let's see. Yeah, there's going to be obviously a lot of Antifa there, because it's really all just about communism, really. We'll talk about all of that. We'll take a look at Tim Walz. A lot of commies in the live stream tonight. A lot of commies. Tim Walz, a true believer in Mao's communist doctrine, former student. Now, this student isn't named. I think they have like a pseudonym in this article. But I mean, with the evidence that we've seen so far, I mean, I don't know. I'm likely to lean towards he is in fact a true believer in Mao's communist doctrine, according to this former student. Of course, we're going to look at Commie Kamala. Yeah, there's just, I mean, we're going to be spending a lot of time on her. It's a big deal. Right up until the election. We're going to have some Trump. Trump's talking about starting 10 new mega futuristic cities in various states on federally owned lands. What do you guys think of that? What do you think of that? At first glance, you think, okay, well, that sounds pretty good. Are there dystopian ways this could all go awry? I don't know. But it's interesting. I want to hear from you guys on it. Let's see. We got some more Tim Walz stuff. Got a little bit of more election stuff here. It's all really just election stuff, the first part. Then, of course, we're going to go to all the stuff that I've curated from X over the week. And it's just a bunch of different stuff. There's Milton Friedman there. Then we just got some crazy far leftist dingbat here who loves Kamala. We got some Canadian stuff. Got some Elon Musk. We've got a cat falling on a guy's head. It's crazy. What else we got? Lots of stuff in here. We got some comedy. You guys always enjoy the comedy. We've got some large people having fun. We always have some fun with that. Got Peter Thiel talking to Joe Rogan. Got a couple Joe Rogan things in here. Got some Douglas Murray. Brilliant. Probably the most eloquent advocate for conservatism maybe in the world right now. Brilliant guy. We'll take a look at that. There's Javier Milei. We're going to hear him. He's always just amazing. There's really, I haven't seen anything from here where I've thought this guy is not fantastic. I wish he was running my country. Although nobody's perfect. Of course, nobody's perfect. We are all just flesh and blood after all, but some people are pretty cool. Some people are cooler than others, let's say. So we've got some Peterson stuff in here with his daughter. All kinds of craziness. There's some Nigel Farage there from 2010. I'm wondering if what he was saying in 2010 has any relevance to what's happening in England now. I'm guessing probably. All right. And I think we'll probably go on for about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours tonight. We'll have to see. All right, everybody. Here we go. 100,000 anti-Israel protesters who are really just communists. Let's face it, they're just communists. 100,000 anti-Israel protesters expected to descend across Chicago during the Democratic Convention, which starts tomorrow. So this will be interesting. There's been a lot of speculation about what's going to happen during this week. Is there going to be massive, they talk about the 1968 Chicago Democratic National Convention, which was a total shit show. And there's been speculation that we might see something similar this year just because of the nature of the far left lunatics that the DNC courts and encourages and has nurtured for political expediency. And, the problem is they tend to bite the hand that feeds them. So 100,000, they're saying, 100,000 expected to descend across Chicago during Democratic Convention. And of course, they're going to keep them as far away from the DNC as possible. I'm hearing like they're going to have like a zone like 5 miles around it where you're not even getting close, because that's democracy, folks. That's because don't forget, they're the people that want to save democracy for everybody. The people who have the candidate that nobody voted for. Even when they had a chance to vote for in 2020, nobody did. But apparently it's wonderful now. Also, everybody complained about her, said she was dragging down the ticket for a long time until she was the candidate after the palace coup. And then apparently she's wonderful and there's all this joy everywhere. Have you noticed all the joy? Are you guys feeling all the joy? All the Kamala joy? I haven't really noticed it that much. I don't feel like, I feel like it might be made up by the media. Who knows? But apparently there's a ton of Kamala joy going down everywhere. So, these protesters are not going to get anywhere near to the actual convention itself. They're going to keep them far away. Far, far away. But they're going to be there, and who knows what kind of hijinks they're going to get up to. People are speculating that they're going to get up to all kinds of crazy, violent Bernie trouble. Not Bernie Sanders trouble, Bernie trouble, like fiery, but like mostly peaceful, but fiery kind of trouble. I don't know. We'll have to see. Now, reporter William J. Kelly, who's a veteran Chicago reporter, feared and despised by Mayor Lightfoot, Host of the Chicago Files Emmy Award winning William J. Kelly, he's reporting that upwards of 50,000 Antifa protesters plan to disrupt. Disrupt usually has something to do with like bricks and violence and mace when Antifa is involved. But he says, whatever that means, the entire city of Chicago, not just the DNC convention. He says, I hope my sources are wrong. Mayor Brandon Johnson, who has deep connections with March on the DNC 2024. That is the biggest group, which is really a bunch. It's like 100 different groups that's organizing this march. Groups of communists, of course. Protest group leaders from his own left-wing activist days has been on speed dial, calling them up on their cell phone. So he knows a lot of this, right? Mayor Brandon Johnson, who has deep connections with March on the DNC 2024 protest group leaders from his own left-wing activist days, he's being on speed dial, calling them up on their cell phones, pleading with them, and personally granting them concessions. I've also been told that while CPD have not technically been told to stand down, that's the Chicago Police Department, they have been told to de-escalate when it comes to violent protesters. So de-escalate means do nothing. Just stand back and let them go fucking bananas. Let them go commie bananas. But officers also tell me that if they engage and the situation escalates, it could mean they're badge or worse. This is what happens when a city doesn't have the cops back. Well, it's an interesting dilemma for them, right? Because, I mean, the instinct would be to, because, obviously, if you are, I believe everything on the left now, I believe, is now just fully gone towards far left authoritarianism. So the instinct would be to crack down hard, right? Like as we're seeing, they're doing it to the working class in the UK, in England right now. But also, they kind of, but also, there's all the defund the police and all the commie rhetoric that they kind of have to kind of go with. They don't want to lose the useful idiots unnecessarily, right? So I don't know. I feel like it should just be a no-brainer. They're going to go bananas. There's going to be 100,000 people that are going to go bananas, and they're going to burn shit and loot and steal and attack people and basically go crazy, light cars on fire, whatever. But we don't know until it actually happens. It starts tomorrow, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. I would expect that it would really get bonkers at the end, on the last day, but I guess we'll see. So anyway, that's what he is saying. So what's going on here from the Daily Wire? Tens of thousands of anti-Israel protesters are expected to march through Chicago this week in demonstrations targeting the Democratic National Convention. Roughly 100,000 protesters are expected to take part in 7 marches and rallies across the city as the Democratic Party holds its convention, where Vice President Kamala Harris is expected to become the official Democratic nominee for president. A number of unpermitted rallies are expected to take place as well, according to the New York Post. So 100,000 protesters, 100,000 far leftists take part in 7 marches and rallies across the city. So common sense would dictate that they'd lose their minds and go crazy in an orgy of violence and arson and, and just commie anxiety, I guess. But we shall see. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if the Chicago police does actually, if they do get the order to just crack down hard. We shall see. The DNC will begin Monday and run through Thursday as Democrats hope to unite the party behind its new nominee that nobody voted for, Kamala Harris, who took over after President Joe Biden departed from the race after a palace coup. Biden left the race under heavy criticism from elected Democrats and media pundits after a June 27 debate. Well, we know all of that debate. We covered that extensively, and it was absurd. It was a surprise only to the media, apparently, and the people that watch mainstream media. So I guess CNN, MSNBC, that sort of thing. People who read the New York Times. A surprise to them, but not anybody else. I mean, I remember making videos back in 2020 saying, like, there's no way Biden could be this is before he was even the nominee, saying there's no way. I mean, the guy's clearly in mental decline. He's clearly got Alzheimer's or something. Like, there's no way. Imagine how bad it'll be in a couple of years. Right. But apparently it was a massive surprise to the media and I guess people who faithfully watch CNN, MSNBC, because they never got to see any of the clips. I'm sure that the media themselves knew. I'm sure that they must have seen all of the infinite number of clips of Biden being just clearly demented. But I guess they like collecting paychecks. Anyway, the largest rally expected to hit the city and the DNC is the March on the DNC 2024. The rally is scheduled to take place Monday and Thursday and is expected to draw around 30,000 participants. It was organized by a coalition of 125 anti-Israel groups, according to the Post. But, anti-Israel groups, it's really mostly just a bunch of commies, socialists, right, who just, this is the new fashionable thing to attach themselves to further their cause. This is the thing that has the political expedience that they're looking for, right? This is the glamour issue that they're looking to attach themselves to. But make no mistake, it's all about socialism. It's all about Marxism. All right, I'm not seeing any of the regulars in the chat. Well, what the heck is going on? Is everybody's computer broken? Is everybody's TV broken? Where are you guys? Anyway, so March on the DNC 2024. So what's that? March on the DNC 2024. Well, here we have the website. It's March on the DNC 2024, the coalition. So who's in the coalition for March on the Capitol 2024 for the DNC? First off, what do they want? They want money for jobs, school, healthcare, housing, environment, and not for war. I thought it was a Palestine. I thought it was a Palestine rally. Hold on, let's make this a little bit bigger. Looks like there's a bunch of other stuff. So the March on the DNC will be a march for Palestine. Our main demand will be stand with Palestine and U.S. aid to Israel. Okay. But then there's a bunch of other stuff. We will also be bringing together the demands of the people's movements to the door of the Democratic Party. Money for jobs, school, healthcare, housing, environment, not for war. Well, I can't really complain about that. I mean, I think forever wars in places like Ukraine, fight to the last Ukrainian. I think most people would probably say, well, if you got to spend the money, maybe spend it at home. And I know a lot of people in pretty much every Western country are feeling the same way about that. Let's see, immigrant rights and legalization for all undocumented workers. So immigrant rights and legalization for all undocumented workers. So just open borders. That's commie right there. Defend LGBT, all the alphabet things, and reproductive rights. What do the two have to do with each other exactly? What does the alphabet thing and then reproductive rights have to do with each other? I don't really know. I guess they're always trying to combine things so that, like, if you criticize one little aspect of something, you're criticizing everything. It's like they put the L, the G, the B, the T, the Q, the I, the A, the plus. The plus, by the way, is just all the stuff they haven't thought of yet, but they definitely know it exists. But they put them all together, even though they don't really have anything to do with each other. Like, what do the L's and the G's have to do with the T's or the Q's? Like queer, as far as I can tell, is just, you could be a 260-pound linebacker, you throw a wig on, and now you're queer. You're not, you could say you're not a woman, I'm non-binary, I'm fluid or something. It's not really anything. But they put them all together. The T doesn't really have anything to do with the L. The Q doesn't really. What is the I and the A? And what is, again, the plus? What does the plus have in it? They don't even know what the plus is. The plus is, well, there's a bunch of more stuff. We don't know what it is yet, but we're pretty sure that everybody hates it. I don't know. Give us a chance to know what it is first. See, Proton Mail says, just read that Robert De Niro was shut down on X for making threats. I did see something about that earlier. It didn't say making threats. It just say he was shut down. So I don't know. We'll have to maybe I'll make a video about that one. Did he make threats? Maybe we'll take a look at that. I wonder if there's actually anything on it already. Let's take a quick peek. Let's do a quick diversion here. Robert De Niro banned on X. Let's see if anything comes up. Well, there's Reddit. Let's see. For Trump threats, tiger dropping. So what's going on here? Let's see. Robert De Niro has been suspended from X for issuing violent threats. So I'm not seeing exactly what he said. This will probably clear up overnight. Maybe we'll take another look at it tomorrow. But I did see that he was kicked off, and threats seems to make sense because he does say a bunch of crazy shit constantly. I guess he is like the peak of Trump derangement syndrome, right? Like Rob Reiner, him, and a couple other people. He's really at that, like the kind of the top of the mountain in terms of Trump derangement syndrome. Never go full TDS. They say never go full TDS.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Let's see. I Care 22 shut down. Where are you, Radio Baloney? Can you guys not see me? What's going on? Is there a problem? What's happening? I was wondering what was happening to the chat. There's not much going on. All right. Can you hear me, I Care 22? Can anybody hear me? Somebody let me know. Let me see. Let me check the hold on. I'll check the feed on Rumble. All right, you guys are saying okay, Proton Mail says he can hear me. I Care 22, you can hear me. Good. Okay. Okay, so it seems to all be working. What was this shutdown thing? I Care 22. What was that about? That confused me. It's not difficult. Extremely not difficult, especially when the caffeine hasn't kicked in yet. All right. All right, let's keep going. Let's just keep going. Let's see. So anyway, I was ranting, defend the right to unionize and strike, stop police crimes, community control of the police now, justice, peace, equality. Oh, they didn't use equity, so that's good. So that's good. Usually they throw equity in there. So it's a bunch of commie stuff, basically. The coalition. Who's in the coalition? But I guess the point was actually, so okay, so they'll take whatever the fashionable cause is right now. So Palestine, right? So that's what it's about. It's about Palestine, but it's actually not. It's actually about all this other stuff. Well, that's the thing that you can use to get the attention. That's the fashionable thing. And that's what it's all about, really. So there's a lot of different groups that are a part of this coalition. Lots and lots of ones. What do we got here? International Migrants Alliance. Socialist Alternative. Let's see. Workers' World. American Party of Labor. They're going to be commies. Denver Communists. So they just come out and say, yeah, we're communists. We're not hiding anything. Let's see. National Students for Justice in Palestine. So, of course, students are going to be involved. Let's see. Code Pink, of course, because they're out of their minds. This looks commie here. I don't even need to look it up. UPEP, that just looks commie immediately. As soon as you see it, you think queers for Palestine. Have we made enough rooftop jokes? Have we? Freedom Socialist Party. Really, when it comes down to Democratic Socialists of America, really, when it comes down to it, it's always Marxism underneath it all. That's always the real cause. You know, that's always the real cause. It's always socialism. Freedom Road Socialist Organization. Of course, you got Black Lives Matter Chicago in there, right? So that's what it's always actually about. So let's see. They are getting so Joe and Kamala, guess they're trying to kind of, walk the razor's edge with all the Palestine stuff because, I mean, they do need those votes. They do want those votes. Hatem Abu Daya, chair of the U.S. Palestinian Community Network, has pushed monikers such as Genocide Joe and Killer Kamala to pressure the Democratic White House over the war in Israel. It's also an organizer of protests to take place during the DNC. Anything else of interest here? Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson said the city is ready for this moment when massive groups of protesters are expected to sow chaos across the city. It has to be safe and peaceful and vibrant and energetic. Do you think it will be? Mostly peaceful but fiery but peaceful? Do you think it'll be a summer of love? But kind of a bit, assaulty and arsony and looty and murdery. What do you think? I'm very interested to see. I mean, I hope it's all peaceful for the people of Chicago, but I don't know. Will there be some sort of deal made with the leaders of these protests? For the mutual benefit of leftism and the Democratic Party and commies. I don't know. It'll be interesting. They can be short. They can be hard to reel in, I think, sometimes. And if you've got 50,000 Antifa protesters, if they actually show up there, I mean, they like throwing bricks at things, as well as throwing bottles of like piss and all kinds of disgusting things. They like throwing bricks through windows and attacking people. I mean, they love it. Apparently, it's what they live for. So, be interesting. I want to know what you guys think. Is it going to be a shit show, or will it somehow kind of be muted, or will it be, a small enough amount of violence, arson, and all that the media can cover it up, easily? They will try to anyway. I mean, they could literally burn down the entire city except for, that 5 miles, around the DNC that they're going to keep everybody out of. And the media will try to cover it up. It's just that they wouldn't be able to, but they would because they're shameless, of course. All right. All right. So that's that. Let's move on. Tim Walz, a true believer in Mao's communist doctrine from a former student. It doesn't really seem that surprising to me. A former student accompanied Governor Tim Walz on a trip to China in 1995, says the Democratic vice presidential candidate adores communist China and is a Maoist to the core. A Maoist to the core. I can believe it. It was, quote, and this is from the former student, it was almost a daily revelation of how much he adores the communist regime. This is from the former student who identified himself only as Shad. And he told this to Alpha News. Former President Donald Trump called Walz a radical leftist soon after Kamala Harris chose the Minnesota governor as her running mate. Yeah, we've got some videos that we'll show after this of Tim Walz. And it's not hard to believe that this story is true. It's not hard at all. Okay. Walz was a frequent visitor to China for 10 years of his life as he taught at a high school as part of a Harvard University program. And this is now just widely known that he did this. So there's no dispute about this. He made his first trip to China in 1989, but was in Hong Kong when the Tiananmen Square protests prompted the Beijing government to brutally suppress and kill these student protesters. So he wasn't there, but he did revisit that site later for an anniversary. Well, I'll read it to you right now. Walz later visited the site of the massacre, according to the New York Times, but apparently did not disapprove of the violence. Well, if he's a Maoist, the violence is good, right? Just whatever for the revolution. He returned home to sing the praises of China. 5 years later, he married Gwen Whipple, what a name that is, on the anniversary of the government crackdown, as his wife noted that Walz, quote, wanted to have a date he'll always remember. Always remember. Do you usually do that on a date that you're horrified by, on the anniversary of something that was terrible? I think you tend to do it around something that you like, something that you approve of. According to the Wall Street Journal, the couple honeymooned in China. So 5 years later, he married his wife on the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. The Tiananmen Square massacre. Again, you wouldn't. And saying that he wanted a date he'll always remember. Like if you get married on the anniversary of like Kristallnacht and you say, because I wanted a date I'll always remember. Like you usually want that connection to be something positive, right? Something that you like and approve of. I mean, we're kind of seeing it all out in the open here, aren't we? Hey, we got Antipop in the chat. Good to see you. He's saying Walz gives out little red books. Yeah, Mao's little red book. You know what? We're just about to get to that. That's correct. It's like if you got married on 9/11 because you wanted a date that you'll always remember, right? That says something about you. If the anniversary is the same day as Kristallnacht on purpose, right? Or like the day that Germany invaded Poland or something. Yeah, I think it says something about you. Walz visited China, by his own estimation, about 30 times over the next decade as he sponsored summer trips for students. He was even a visiting fellow at a Chinese university. Shad was one of those students who traveled with Walz throughout China. But he says Walz was not just captivated by the geography of the country, he loved the ideology. Quote, there was no doubt he was a true believer, Shad said. I've been trying to tell people this for 30 years. Nobody wanted to listen. Well, the mainstream media is not going to listen, are they? At night, when he'd go out, we'd walk the street fairs. We'd be buying souvenirs, and Tim was always buying the Little Red Book. There you go, Antipop. Tim was always buying the Little Red Book, Mao's Little Red Book. He said he gave them as gifts. I saw him buy at least a dozen on the trip. Referring to the book of quotations from Chairman Mao Zedong, the Chinese dictator who ruled China and killed tens of millions of people from 1949 till his death in 1976. So it all kind of shapes up to Walz being a Maoist, being an actual communist, being a big fan of Mao. And I always say that, look, if you're just a useful idiot, you're just some stupid college student who knows everything he knows about communism he learned in 60-second videos on TikTok. Okay, you're just a useful idiot. But if you are say a Tim Walz, and you understand the history, right? You get married on the intentionally on the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre on purpose, right? And you know the history, you know about the tens of millions of people who died because of Chairman Mao, who died unnecessarily because of Mao, not to mention the lives, just the broken lives, the ruined lives, of people forced to live under an authoritarian dictatorship, essentially, a totalitarian state. If you know about all of that, you're just evil. Okay, you're not the student, the dumb student, the dumb 19-year-old with the Che Guevara t-shirt who doesn't know anything, who just everything they learned in 30-second videos on social media. If you're like Tim Walz and you know what your ideology is responsible for, and it certainly looks like he's a big fan of communism, especially the Chinese style communism, the Maoist communism. If you do know all of that, you're evil. You're a bad person. You're one of the, got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. But, the few eggs is millions of people. Quote, it would be like being in Germany and buying copies of Mein Kampf, Shad told Alpha News. If there was any doubt about what I'm saying, just look at the policies enacted by his administration, like the country's worst abortion law, anti-free speech, the riots. Shad noted he's a Maoist to the core and should not be underestimated. Yeah, the riots in 2020, he let them go. The wife was talking about how she opened the window so she could smell the burning tires. Right? Walks like a Maoist, talks like a Maoist. Maybe he's a Maoist. Shad drew attention to the similarities between the messaging of Walz and Kamala Harris, including phrases like the politics of joy. I think that Antipop already beat me to that. Antipop said words of joy. Yeah. Politics of joy. And he says, like Kamala's slogan. I think I might have the smartest chat here. Too smart, in fact. They're putting out shit before I can in the chat before I can say it. God damn it. God damn you, Antipop. You get applause anyway. Everybody gets applause. All right. But in any case, Shad drew attention to the similarities between the messaging of Walz and Kamala Harris, including phrases like the politics of joy, Kamala's joy, right? And unburdened by what has been, and the propaganda materials used by Mao. People need to have their eyes wide open, Shad said. The snitch hotline in Minnesota is straight out of the CCP. Tim Walz is a very bright guy. None of this is by accident. Yeah, I'm at the point now, I'm talking generally at the lunacy that we're seeing in the Western world, the suicidal empathy, or what looks like suicidal empathy. It's something else, perhaps. Suicidal something else. But I used to be of the opinion that, it's probably all just emergent phenomena, that springs from these ideologies. But now I'm starting to think it's just all planned. There's nothing just emergent about it, right? There's nothing unintentional about it. There's nothing that's just like an evolution about it. No, this is just a plan. It's a plan. Why is every Western country doing the exact same goddamn things? Why is every leftist government in the West doing the exact same things? Why is Biden doing the same things as Macron or Keir Starmer or Justin Trudeau? Why? They all want the same things. They may not be doing it exactly the same way. In the US, the mass migration is illegal. In Canada, almost all of it's legal. In the UK, almost all of it's legal. I mean, there's still plenty of illegal, but it's mainly legal. The censorship, the calls for censorship, it's a little harder in the States because of the First Amendment, but every country is talking about misinformation. Biden had his the Mary Poppins of misinformation and disinformation. What was her name? What was her name? Let's look her up. Mary Poppins of misinformation. I did a couple videos on it, so I should remember. Let's see. What was her name again? Nina Jankowicz. Do they have her video in here? Do they have her video? I don't know. Let's go back again and see if we can find that video of her. We're just going like down rabbit holes now. We're getting sidetracked all over the place. Here she is. Here is this absolute dingbat. What's this all about?
Savor the sounds of summer at the Peony Fair Summer Night Concerts.
All right, hold on. We got to sit through an ad. Rosie, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat. What's going on here? All right, here we are.
It's when a Pondering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. When Rudy Giuliani shared bad intel from Ukraine, or when TikTok influencers say COVID can cause pain, they're laundering disinfo, and we really should take note and not support their lies with our wallet, voice, or vote. Oh, information laundering is.
Jesus. I mean, it's like an alternate universe. She was supposed to head up the disinformation agency for the U.S. government for Biden. This came out, and then everybody went, she's totally nuts. What are you thinking? You can't do that. Nina Jankowicz, she's the one, by the way, who assured everybody that the Hunter Biden laptop story was, of course, in fact, Russian disinformation. It was some sort of Russian plot, obviously. And that's why it was important for her to be there, to let everybody know, to let everybody know that reality was, in fact, misinformation, which was the purpose of this thing from the start. But back to my point. Why are the same things happening? Why are the same leftist leaders doing the exact same things in every Western government? Exactly. They're going for the same things. They're going for free speech, mass immigration, right? Taxes, all doing the exact same thing, and they use the same rhetoric. It's not emergent. It's planned. We know that they meet up in Davos every year. Maybe they talk about it there. But anyway, I'm sure that Tim Walz will be going next time if he hasn't already been. Let's see. On Friday, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said he is demanding an investigation into Walz's long-standing connections to the Chinese Communist Party entities and officials. It kind of seems like a no-brainer. I mean, China says that they're not just the enemy of the United States, the enemy of the West, and they want to take over. I mean, you'd think it would be something that would be of concern, right? Maybe vet the guy. Maybe take a look. What's going on exactly here? He's handing out Mao's little red book. He's buying lots of them and handing them out to people. What? When was his anniversary? His anniversary is intentionally on the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre? What? Hold on a second. Maybe we should take a look at this guy. Maybe this guy's, I don't know. Maybe this guy's...
And that's nothing but pure and simple old-fashioned communism.
Maybe he is. Maybe he is. There's clues, right? There's some clues. Maybe this guy isn't to be entirely trusted, perhaps. Senator Tom Cotton, says Walz, quote, owes the American people an explanation about his unusual 35-year relationship with communist China. According to Alpha News, Walz's staff did not reply to Alpha News' request for comment. And it's not like, he's got some big manufacturing company or something. He's got a factory over there, something like that, which, again, I mean, you could look into that, absolutely. But it seems to just be ideological on his part. It seems to just be personal on his part. All right, so let's take a little closer look at Walz here. So here's Actually, CNN calling him up for lying about a DUI arrest. That's interesting. What's Rosie saying? Rosie says, wonder if she ever played Mary Poppins on stage. We're talking about Nina Jankowicz here, the Mary Poppins of misinformation and disinformation. Wonder if she ever played Mary Poppins on stage. I bet she did. She wants to, obviously. Like, she wants to perform, clearly, because she's putting that out in public. Not a super easy song to perform. Ridiculous to use the tune the way she has. Well, she's clearly just, she's a censorship witch is what she is. That's what I think. That's my opinion. So here's Walz laughing about putting up extra big ladders for illegal immigrants to cross the border. I think this is the sort of thing China would approve of.
I would say this, that I just am waiting to find out how high that wall is, because then if it's 30 foot tall, you can go invest in the 35-foot ladder. There's money to be made here, you know. So, I would say this, that I...
Yikes. Good Lord. This video exists, and he is still the VP pick for Kamala Harris. Weird. Let's see. Here he's praising a Muslim leader, Assad Zaman, who celebrated the Hamas attack and shared pro-Hitler propaganda. Well, you know, the thing is that fascism is left-wing, right? The National Socialist Workers' Party. Fascism is left-wing. Communism is left-wing, right? They're sister ideologies. They're not exactly the same. But fascism is a left-wing ideology. You know, it's the German fascism, which is the one everybody always talks about, it was a fascism with German characteristics. It was different from, say, like Spanish or Italian fascism, but they're all have their roots as left-wing ideologies. Again, hence the like the socialist part in the National Socialist Workers' Party. And if you look at the German economy, there's plenty of socialism in it. Plenty. Price controls, too, just like Kamala's talking about. Isn't that strange? Let's see. What do we got here? How about this?
Police officers testified at the Minnesota Senate today. The officers are all board members for the Minneapolis Police Federation. And as Esme Murphy reports, they offered up a scathing critique of government and police leaders during the riots following George Floyd's death.
That's not what we stand for.
Her voice shaking, Minneapolis Police Sergeant Anna Hedberg says during the riots, officers were abandoned by state, city, and department leaders.
To watch them go through that was so heartbreaking. To know that they could have died because we were not allowed to respond the way that we have been trained to respond.
During the riots, the officers were told they could not wear protective frog suits, but were still hit and injured with bottles, cement, and more. Sergeant Hedberg blamed state, city, and department leaders for the abandonment of the 3rd Precinct.
I heard the governor say, give it up. It wasn't directly to me, it was through a phone call. How the governor says, give up the precinct. I mean, that's demoralizing for this whole state.
And the 3 described a demoralized police force with dozens of officers planning to retire or quit.
I believe I speak for every Minneapolis cop when I tell you that I've never been more publicly humiliated.
They also described a city out of control.
The crime is rampant in Minneapolis right now.
If you are a communist revolutionary who has infiltrated the government, this is what you would want to do. This is precisely what you would want to do. Right? If your interests aren't, maintaining the state and maintaining, the constitutional law, the rule of law. I mean, this is what communists take a look at the Russian Revolution. Take a look at the Bolshevik. This is what they do. They want this. They want the chaos, right? Because they want to burn everything down and then rise out of the chaos to build their utopia, which they know actually isn't a utopia. They know they're going to have to break a few eggs, if you know what I mean, right? But this is exactly what you would do. Rosie says, everybody hit like. You're an angel, Rosie. She's saying right now we should have 21 likes. I agree. That's the perfect amount for right now. Go, 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 like. We're woefully short of the 21 likes for right now. Woefully short. Get to it, people. Let's see. Cernovich is saying this, and this was on August 7th. He said there's still way more oppo about Tim Walz. This is all a warm-up. Wait until you find out the rest. Truly disgusting stuff. Yeah, we found out quite a lot. He wasn't wrong about that. Okay, Walz signed an executive order in Minnesota allowing abortion up until birth. Ugh. And then, of course, you've got all the stuff about him abandoning his unit before deployment, knowing that they were going to be sent to war. He didn't. Here we have Mike. Well, let's listen to this from Michael Schellenberger.
3 major controversies threaten Walz's image as a moderate. First, Walz waited 3 days before asking for the deployment of the National Guard after Black Lives Matter protests turned into fiery riots, which destroyed hundreds of businesses in Minneapolis. 2, Walz created a snitch line through which thousands of Minnesotans reported their neighbors, co-workers, and police officers to the government for things like not wearing masks while outdoors during COVID. And 3, Walz...
So he created basically a Stasi hotline. Minnesota. All sounds pretty commie to me. All sounds exactly what a commie would do to me.
Doubled down last year on letting doctors and surgeons give drugs to and operate on children and adolescents who are confused about their gender at a time when Britain and much of the rest of Europe is banning them. 3 major controversies threaten...
Yeah, the gender cult. This is, again, like stuff that just is designed to go like a jackhammer through the foundations of civilization. This is all the sorts of things that a communist revolutionary wants, because they want the chaos so that they can bring their own kind of order out of the chaos. Never goes well. It never has. Somebody like Walz, who apparently is intelligent and is knowledgeable, knows that it never goes well, but doesn't care. I guess if you feel like you're going to be at the top of it, right? You're not going to experience the equity that everybody else is going to experience, right? The useful idiots hear equity, and Kamala Harris saying, we want everybody to end up at the same place, right? They think, oh, I'll end up with the guy who's got the nice car and the nice house, right? No. That's not the equity that you're going to get. The guy with the nice car and the nice house is going to come down to your level. You're not going up to his. That person is going to be impoverished. That's equity. That's the equity they have in store for you. Now, if you're a high up in the party, well, then you're fine, right? Then you'll actually, maybe you get to live in the mansion. You get the nice stuff. But otherwise, no. The equity doesn't go up. The equity goes down. Lowest common denominator. Poverty for everybody. And maybe there are people that are so stupid that they'd rather give up any opportunity for themselves in the future just to bring everybody down to their level right now. Those people do exist. But I think we've established that Tim Walz is a dirty, filthy commie, haven't we? And so is Kamala. The only question with Kamala is, does she really believe it all? Or is it just, political expediency on her part? Apparently her father was a commie, so maybe she really does. It does appear that she doesn't really understand any of it. She's just internalized the slogans and the platitudes around it, on equity and all of that. In any case, I think we're going to cut off the YouTube stream right now. I think that's enough. We've been going for 56 minutes on it. And this is the part in the show where we continue on. We continue going live on Rumble, but we cut off YouTube because we call it Stalin Tube. We call it Mao Tube. You can call it either. You call it Stalin Tube, Mao Tube, whatever. You call it Pol Pot Tube. You can call it Castro Tube, whatever. But this is the point where we step away from it. For all I know, it's already been, nuked on YouTube anyway. So Maybe nobody's missing anything. But anyway, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to continue watching, come over to Rumble. Water's great over here. But join in the chat. You'll be welcomed in. It's wonderful. We've got the best chat, I think, on the internet here. So join us over there. Anyway, we're ending YouTube, and we're going to continue on Rumble. Let's go.